FIFA 19 is nearly here. In case you hadn't heard, it adds the Champions League licence to the FIFA franchise for the first time in a decade. Unlucky the Pez. But some fans have criticised EA for changing little else about this year's game than some small tweaks to Ultimate Team. At Gamescom I spoke to Sam Rivera, FIFA's lead gameplay producer, who confirmed to us that Pro Clubs has no new additions except for some new licenses, while Career Mode has basically nothing new except for some paltry new additions, like the addition of a star above your club badge if you win the Champions League. But once you get onto the pitch, FIFA 19 is packed full of small but meaningful tweaks. So here are 19 new features that we thought were worth your attention.
Benzema! And there is the equaliser!
Straight off the bat, EA have attempted to add a little bit more depth to FIFA's shooting this year, with the addition of timed finishing. You can now attempt to hit a shot even sweeter than before by tapping circle or B a second time, just as your foot hits the ball. Get the timing right and there's a decent chance the ball will be flying into the top corner. Follow my example and it'll probably end up in row Z, or end up squashing a few daisies around the corner flag. If you're the sort of FIFA player who likes to play it from the back, then this one's for you. You know when you're playing next to a friend and you want to play it to your centre back or right back from a goal kick, but if you move the stick, your mate will see the camera swing round and know where you're going to pass to. Now, moving the stick from a goal kick doesn't move the camera, so you can emulate Barcelona and Manchester City to your heart's content. One of PES 2018's best small improvements was a grey marker above the currently selected second player when defending. This allows you to know which second man will press and which player you'll switch to should you press L1 or left bumper. EA has smartly borrowed the idea and put it into FIFA 19. Passing in general feels better this year, but the biggest step forward has been seen in through passes, which feel much more natural. They feel way more powerful. Too powerful, in fact, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them nerfed before launch. I mean, just look at the state of these filthy passes.
Fred breaks. Jordan Henderson, Mane, a goal for Liverpool.
EA says that 50-50 battles over a loose ball will now take into account many more variables than they did last year. In our playtime, these battles for possession didn't appear to have the frustrating unpredictability of FIFA's past. Instead, 50-50 battles felt more responsive, taking into account player attributes and user reaction times. For all the wannabe football managers out there, EA has greatly expanded FIFA's tactical options this year. For example, you can now tell your fullbacks what kind of runs to make when on the attack. On top of that, you can also tell a central midfielder to cover the wing or the centre of the park. Quite why you'd ever want them standing on the touchline when the ball's in the middle is beyond me. Full disclosure, I am colourblind, which in the past has made it quite difficult to tell which team is which on FIFA's minimap. Thankfully, in FIFA 19, one team's players now have triangular icons as opposed to the standard circular ones. Off the pitch, game plans are a new feature that allow you to configure alternate tactical options before the match. This means you can now have separate game plans for when you're 1-0 down and need to go on the offensive, pushing fullbacks up and having more players flood the box, obviously, and for when you're 2-0 up and want to protect your lead. Unfortunately, this means the old presets all-out attack and park the bus are a thing of the past. Staying within the menus, you can also now have greater control over your team's defensive style. That means you can change the way your team attempt to reclaim the ball via the following settings: pressure after possession loss, constant pressure, drop back, balanced, and pressure on heavy touch. And as has become a common feature in football games, you can now adjust your team's width and depth in FIFA 19. However, you can also adjust the number of players you send forward for corner kicks, and tweak how many players will make forward runs in play. The Champions League will of course be seen in the Journey, Ultimate Team and Career Mode, but will also get its own standalone mode. Within that, you can set up a custom Champions League and have it include any team you like, while you can also play a Champions League branded match with any two teams in kickoff. Great news for all the Arsenal fans out there. And this next point probably got a little lost in the excitement of getting the Champions League licence, but the Europa League will also be in FIFA 19. Great news for all the Arsenal fans out there. Back on the pitch, headers now feel far more satisfying. Whether it's your player hanging in the air that little bit longer when jumping, or timing their run to perfection, headers have a dynamism to them that make them feel much more powerful than before. In fact, player animation across the board feels way smoother, thanks in part to the active touch system. The new system allows for better first touches with many different parts of the body, which both looks great and gives you greater control over the ball. Chief among these new animations is a new FEINT move, which means you can now feint to go in one direction before touching the ball off in the opposite direction. And then there's the updated animations for stepovers, which appear to be easier to trigger and a little more powerful than before.
Neymar. The goal then for Paris Saint-Germain.
One of the most annoying things about previous FIFA games is that it was never totally clear whether in-game tactical options, such as forcing your defence to play an offside trap, were activated. Once you clicked the button, you never knew whether it would be active permanently or if it was just temporary, and whether or not it was currently active. This year there's a clear toggle, so you know when you're telling a centre-back to join the attack. I mean, you should probably be able to tell from the 6'6" lump that's standing on the goal line, so if not, you should probably get your eyes checked. A neat little addition within the match preview screen is the detailed stats menu. Effectively an extended score sheet, these exhaustive menus will keep track of all your play session stats against your opponent, whether it's AI or your mate sitting next to you. Maybe you like to play best of 5, whereas your mate likes to settle the winner on aggregate. Regardless, it'll be within these menus that those petty arguments will be settled. Look, I told you, deciding by aggregate is for Champions League matches will feature these funky looking banners in the build up to each match. Now I know that's a tiny detail, but I am a sucker for neat little touches like that. Last, and probably fair to say least, is the clock in stoppage time. As the game enters into its final moments, the clock no longer freezes at 90 minutes, instead continuing on to show you how much injury time you have left. It's not exactly a groundbreaking addition, but it's appreciated all the same. So there are 19 new additions and enhancements that we saw in our time with FIFA 19. Let us know your thoughts on FIFA 19, good and bad, in the comments section below, or you can come complain to me on Twitter. I'm @DareZ, and I'll see you next time.